Greetings.
Hey, 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 hey. Ooh. Okay, by that, you should know that this is a reboot episode where we will pick 3 of our favorite cartoons, 80s, 90s, whatever, that we think should come back and be remade into something different than what it originally was.
Yeah, we're each going to pick 3 cartoons that need to make a comeback and some sort of reboot or maybe even a continuation of the original series. Then at the end we'll probably pick some honorable mentions too, because I can actually think of way more than 3, but we're going to keep the runtime less than 20 minutes this time because our last 2 videos are way too long, and that's probably why not very many people watched them.
Okay, so I'll go first. Number 3 for me would have to be Inhumanoids. Now this show needs to come back just to do more episodes of what it was. I mean, I'm surprised this stayed on TV as long as it did. You got guys like a monster that could touch you and kill you, another one that'll eat you, and his stomach juices turn you into a monster, and there was just so much stuff. I'm surprised the main cast wasn't killed off in the first 3 episodes. The body count was jeez, man, this wasn't a kid's cartoon.
Yeah, it was pretty graphic, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
it was a good show.
Okay, what's yours?
Is that all you want to say about
Yeah.
Humanoids?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess the first one I'll get out of the way is He-Man. Well, the thing is, they did do a He-Man reboot in 2002, and I really liked it. He-Man of the Masters Universe. It was pretty good. It was definitely an improvement over that awful 90s New Adventures of He-Man or whatever cartoon. That was just terrible. The 2002 one was very much like the one from the 80s, which is, of course, my favorite and is the version I'm actually talking about. They need to bring back another cartoon that's more similar to the one from the 80s, kind of like what they did in 2002, but I want them to have more of the same feel of the 80s cartoon. The animation style doesn't have to be completely the same. It'd be nice if it was similar. The 2002 version actually improved on one thing, and that was that Prince Adam and He-Man looked nothing alike, because one issue I always had the 80s one was, I mean, come on, how can you not tell they're the same person? If you think Superman's disguise as Clark Kent is a joke, then you clearly haven't seen He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from the 80s. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Plus, they're the only 2 that have a talking green tiger on the whole planet of Eternia, it seems. So, I mean, come on. Prince Adam and He-Man are very obviously the same person. But anyway, that's another episode. Yes, I'd very much like to see He-Man make some sort of comeback. And it'd be nice to see another movie as well. Masters of the Universe from 1987 was pretty good, but I'd like to see one that's a little closer to the cartoon and the original action figures and stuff. Include some more characters. The 87 movie had way too many new characters that were invented exclusively for the film, and there's so many characters they could have used and they didn't. And I'd definitely like to see another movie and another animated series as well. Would be great.
Okay.
He-Man rules.
Okay, number 2 for me, I don't know if you ever watched it, but Wild West Cowboys and Moo Mesa. I loved this show growing up. I had a lot of the action figures.
Is that an 80s cartoon?
I don't know. I only watched reruns on
Sounds
TV.
familiar. Sounds familiar. I might know what you're talking about if I look it up, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's this is another cartoon where it was lasted 2 seasons. It had Jim Cummings and a couple other people on it. He's the only one I can remember. It's he's the only one I think actually.
One of my favorite voice actors, right there with Frank Welker and Rob Paulson, Charlie Adler.
Yeah, and it was for this one, just same as Inhumanoids, just bring it back and do more episodes of it. Maybe introduce some more villains. Because it was pretty good as it was. You really shouldn't mess with it. If they mess with it, they'll freaking ruin it. So
with both the ones you mentioned, you want to see a continuation. So it's kind of like a new season, but of the same show, and not a completely new series, a total reboot, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, that brings me to my next one, which would be Beavis and Butthead. Okay, now I know they came back in 2011, and it was pretty much perfect. It was they'd never left, and the cool thing was, Beavis and Butthead was such a 90s thing, and, their 90s, grunge, alternative type personalities actually fit in really well with modern times. And when I first heard that they were coming back, I was excited, but I was a little hesitant. I was a little skeptical because I thought, well, as I said, Beavis and Butthead was such a '90s thing. Will it really, uh, you know, I'm afraid they're going to ruin it and have Beavis and Butthead be, they're going to change them around and retool them for the 2000s. But it was actually pretty much a direct continuation of the original show. It was just like a new season. It wasn't a reboot. It wasn't it didn't ignore the last show. It was just another season of Beavis and Butthead, just years after it had ended.
With shittier music videos.
What's that?
With worse music videos.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of Jersey Shore. I'm not a fan of any of today's music really. And but it was kind of interesting to see like kind of a '90s perspective on modern media. Like it was it's kind of like if somebody had been I don't know, Frozen or something, and they returned in present times. It was kind of like a critique. It was a total blast from the past, and I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, and they did come back in 2011, and after that, what happened? I thought that they were back, I thought they were going to be here permanently. I thought they were here to stay, but it only came for one season, and those new episodes are among some of the best. I thought they were really good. One thing I would have to criticize, I think that they didn't seem they didn't seem like headbangers anymore. Like, not as much as they were in the 90s anyway. I mean, they were still rockers, obviously, but, they should really captured their love of heavy metal a little more this time. But that was one of my only issues with the current iteration. But they need to bring it back again. I mean, I was really excited, but now here we are in 2015. It's already been 4 years. Bring it back again. It was kind of a tease. I love that cartoon.
Okay, number one for me is the Magic School Bus, and for this is like, and it's like instead of like how they did the educational stuff, this series could like be like the ramifications afterwards. Like, say they go back to the dinosaurs, and the bus gets damaged, but they don't notice it. It's like when they come back, like at night, it transforms into a dinosaur, like rampages around the city. Or like they go into space and they collect a meteorite or something, bring it back to Earth to study it, but it's got like an alien in it that escapes, and has like mental powers, like slowly takes over people's minds. Or it could do like a body snatch kind of thing where it would like capture them and like create clones to go out into the town and collect people. Or like they go to like Egypt and like Arnold's cousin Janet finds a statue. And it takes over her mind, like she's like an ancient like pharaoh's like spirits in the statue, and takes over her mind, and she tries to turn the town into a new Egyptian kingdom.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I know.
You put a lot of time into this.
I know, because like
that's very.
That's why the other two like on my list were like low key, like don't mess with these.
Nice.
It's like I want
you want to see
this
total,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A total retooling of the show.
Or like they do the vampire thing again, where an actual vampire comes to town and like they got to stop him. Or like they go into space and they find a black hole they go to. They end up in like an alternate dimension, where like kind of like for Futurama, where they went inside the box to another universe.
Yeah,
like that, and they got to work together to save it from being destroyed.
It could make for some good fan fiction.
I know.
I think they should do like an adult version of Magic School Bus, where the Magic School Bus shrinks down, like they explore and discover and learn about the female anatomy and stuff like that.
Technically, it's not magic; it's really like science.
Well, yeah. The school bus itself is magic because it does all those crazy things, time travel.
I wonder who built that thing.
I guess I don't know. Did Miss Frizzle build it? I mean, it's her bus.
I think she's. Well, in the books, like they say, they switch off who uses the bus.
I think she just drugs all the kids. Like she gives them LSD. They're just kind of tripping. They just hallucinate.
I think she's actually crazy.
Oh, most definitely. Well, you ever heard the theory that all the Planeteers from Captain Planet are actually the kids from the Magic School Bus all grown up? And I've actually seen pictures of the pair, and it actually looks pretty
that is so
pretty
cool.
Similar. Yeah, that's crazy. But anyway, I guess my third one. It was really hard to pick three, by the way, and as soon as I stop this video, I'm going to think, oh, I should have picked this, and if you're watching this and thinking, oh, I can't believe they didn't mention such and such, well, chances are that's probably one of the ones that I'm going to regret not mentioning as well. But anyway, I guess the last cartoon we're going to do will be Street Sharks. Now, first of all, I realize, everybody just considers it kind of a, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles knockoff that kind of rode on the success of the aforementioned cartoon, and there was a lot of cartoons that were very similar in concept,
Extreme Dinosaurs.
Yeah, Extreme Dinosaurs. That was kind of a spin-off of the Street Sharks too, and was it Biker Mice from Mars?
I don't think so. That's something else.
Well, I don't know. Well, some people consider it a rehash. I mean, I don't really. I mean, maybe they were somewhat inspired by them, but I actually think Street Sharks improved on a little things. I'll get that to a minute. There, Battletoads also people consider that kind of a knockoff. Well, yeah, the cartoons suck, but the video games were awesome. There's some others like the Cheetah Man, which is also another pretty much failed video game franchise, and a few others. But anyway, well, the thing is, I was always a huge Ninja Turtles fan my whole life. As a kid growing up, I had the action figures, I had the comic books, I watched the cartoon. The movies came out. I was all about that. Huge Turtle fans. Then Street Sharks came along. I remember seeing the commercials on TV for the action figures. I went out and bought them, and I was always a huge fan of marine life. Sea creatures have always vastly intrigued me. I just think that there's so many, secrets of the ocean, so many mysteries, so many things. They say people know more about the moon than they do about the ocean, and marine life has always just fascinated me. And so Street Sharks came along, and I was like, oh wow, it's kind of like Ninja Turtles, but with mostly sea life. I was like, this is cool. The sharks, and then the main villain, Dr. Paradigm, and all his mutants. I thought that was awesome. So I started getting into Street Sharks, and I started buying all the action figures. Started watching the cartoon. I just became obsessed. I had a Street Sharks lunchbox, Street Sharks backpack. This was I was probably I was 5. I was 5 when 5, 6, and 7. I was obsessed for all that time. The TV show lasted, I believe, from '94 to '96, and as I said, it was a lot more intelligent. I think it was a little more serious. It was more grounded in reality than Ninja Turtles was. Ninja Turtles, there's always something crazy going on. There's always aliens and time travel. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm not going to say Street Sharks is realistic, but I mean it was more. The only thing that was unrealistic was people mutating into sea animals. With Ninja Turtles, it was all logic was pretty much just out the window, and they broke the fourth wall constantly.
The Street Sharks never went back in time. They didn't go to Camelot.
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. 1 second. Okay, I'll get to that. I'm just saying, Ninja Turtles was there was they broke the fourth wall, and they were aware that they were in a cartoon. Street Sharks was taken a little more seriously, a lot like some of the other '90s cartoons at the time. Yeah, as I was saying, there's all the talk of DNA and genetic engineering, and it really got me interested in science too. And I just felt like the first 2 seasons were just great. It was it was a continuing story, a continuing saga, and it just always, when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to see the next episode. I started buying them on VHS. There was only 3 VHS releases, and they only had the first 7 episodes total. Now I have the complete series on DVD, finally, at last. I own all the Street Sharks episodes, which I've longed for my whole life. I would have loved that when I was a kid. But yeah, I just became obsessed, and later on I went back to the Ninja Turtles, and I realize now Ninja Turtles is the superior... is this superior one of the two, I do like Ninja Turtles better now, but at the time when I was a kid, I just loved Street Sharks. I would love to see them make a comeback. I would love to see them make the show back, bring the show back. And there will be people saying, "Oh, Ninja Turtles rehash," but really, the only similarity was it was 4 anthropomorphic heroes, basically. I mean, that was pretty much. I mean, there were other little similarities, but really, that was there were so many ways they could do that. But yeah, about the time travel thing, the 3rd season. I don't know, they got different writers, they started traveling time, they started, almost every episode had time travel, and really, I just wanted to see more and more mutants. There were so many more sea creatures that, that I was obsessed with that I wanted to see on the show. I thought that would have been really cool, and yeah, the 3rd season wasn't very good, and then they introduced Extreme Dinosaurs, like we mentioned before. They came in the show, kind of took over. They're called the Dino Avengers at first when they first came on, by the way, and then it just got way too weird. It just got really, really weird. It was just, I don't know. It was very depressing. But the first 2 seasons I will always defend. I don't care if anybody says it was a copy of the Ninja Turtles. they were great. I loved them as a kid. It would be great to see them make some kind of comeback. I mean, I had Street Sharks everything back then. I had Street Sharks candy, Street Sharks ice cream. It was like my first true obsession.
You know what I didn't understand? That
What?
kind of bothered me when I think about it.
What's that?
Okay, one of the sharks is named Schlamu, right?
Yeah, Big Slamu.
And then they
The
introduced
whale shark.
Then they introduced an orca later on,
Yeah, Moby Lick, the killer whale.
which is.
I guess they were
Stupid.
similar. Well, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't really matter to me, though.
I mean, if he was white and yeah, like if he's a white sperm whale, yeah, call him Moby Lick. But no, he's an orca. He should have been Slamu.
Well, they obviously the action figure had a long tongue, and it was to rhyme with Moby Dick, obviously. Yeah, I did have every single action figure that ever came out when I was a kid. I still do somewhere in my mom's basement, which has since flooded a few times, and they're all messed up. They got chewed up by my dog, but maybe someday I'll do a video and I'll show what's left of my Street Sharks collection.
You ever notice that like a lot of the '90s cartoons toys were solid, like their legs didn't move at all, just their arms.
Yeah, I know.
Like Moomason did that, Street Sharks did that,
Yeah.
Extreme Dinosaurs did that, He-Man
Pretty much.
did that. It's weird.
Yeah, but yeah, it'd be great to see Street Sharks come back. I realize Ninja Turtles. I do like Ninja Turtles way better, and they have come back, a bunch of times. I'm not a particular fan of the current incarnation, the 2012 series that's on Nickelodeon.
You were
I
very
respect
nitpicky
people who
about
like
that.
it. Well, I respect people who like it. I'm sure it's good.
dumb
It's-
reasons.
It's just too different. I mean, it's just too.
It's bring up all the stuff from the '80s, like.
I don't like the animation style. That's a different video, though. That's a different video. I don't like how they made Casey Jones into an emo
What are they
trick
gonna-
or treater. I don't like how they're
Wait a minute,
kids.
stop.
Every character gets mutated. I just can't. Someday I'll give it another chance. I'm sure I will. It will grow on me eventually. But right now, I'll stick with the 1987 cartoon and the wonderful, very underrated 2003 cartoon that nobody ever seems to talk about.
Yeah, the 2003.
How about bring back that?
The
There's a
2003,
comeback for
the
you.
2003 cartoon was good, but then it started getting too serious.
I agree.
and
I don't
all
like
that.
how they made Shredder or Utrom. I don't like how Utrom. Sorry, I don't like how they kept traveling to space, and then they went back in time as well. But the first maybe 2, maybe even 3 seasons were really good. It started off really good. I like how it was dark and gritty, more like the comic books. It was a lot more serious.
I hate walking
That
on
was
my
the right
tentacles.
direction.
Shut up, Crane.
Yeah, I know. That was great when I saw that. I was like, yes, finally.
But then when they did Turtles Forever, there was no Krang when they searched him up.
Yeah, I know. There should have been a
Oh, that would've been funny.
2003
Yeah.
version of Crane.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That's why I built this stupid search.
Shredder.
And why they never question what the fuck his suit looks like that for?
It's a volcano. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Was it designed to be distracting?
Yeah, that's another video. We're going to do a Ninja Turtles video at some point, don't worry. But yeah, let's do some honorable mentions. Some cartoons that, pretty much all the 90s ones I grew up with, Rocko's Modern Life, All Red Monsters, Hey Arnold, Doug, Rugrats, Angry Beavers, then, Animaniacs and all those cartoons from Warner Brothers. Cartoon Network, of course, Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Edd and Eddie. I'd love to see all those shows come back. I'm sure it wouldn't be the same now, but it'd still be interesting. I'd still watch them. And, the 80s cartoons were my favorite, though. I mean, Transformers and Thundercats have had several reboots, and they were never able to capture the magic. And the He-Man, which I already mentioned.
The Thundercats reboot was kind of racist.
Yeah, it was like an anime.
Like
wasn't
a lot
it?
of-
I didn't really like it.
It wasn't the animation the whole they were just racist.
Why didn't Snarf talk? Lino, Snarf, Snarf. It's like,
Shut the
I missed
fuck
that.
up!
Yeah, I missed that.
I don't know. I was like, I'm glad he didn't talk because his voice gets annoying after a while.
Cringer didn't talk in the He-Man cartoon anymore either. It's like, why'd they do that?
He shouldn't have been able to talk in the first place.
I don't really want to see any of the Hanna-Barbera 70s cartoons rebooted. I mean, a lot of them have made a comeback. It'll just never be the same. They won't be able to capture the magic. It'll get a modernized
I'd like
twist.
I'd like to see him do wacky races, but do with modern Cartoon Network characters.
They'll have Katy Perry songs and Nicki Minaj songs and all kinds of
All right. Anyways.
nowadays.
Okay, for mine, it have to be Garfield and Friends,
That'd be good.
Monster Farm, which should have lasted way longer than it did. And what was that other one? You did all the ones I wanted to mention.
Oh, my bad.
Mummy's Alive.
I remember that.
That was awesome.
Actually, I have an episode of that on my Street Sharks DVD.
I have some of the action figures.
And we've reached the 20-minute mark.
We did?
Yep.
Hit the button. Hit the button!
All right. I'm Hellhound.
I'm Spellbinder.
There's been another episode of Dead Level Discussions. Tune in next time. And make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Comment.